MTN News. This is Positively Montana.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's edition of Positively Montana. I'm Hallie Schwinnard. We are bringing you stories from across the state, highlighting the good. The stories you're about to hear feature people doing good things, trying to make a difference and helping others in need. We'll introduce you to filmmakers, painters, and a family receiving a long overdue medal. We hope you enjoy the next half hour as much as we've enjoyed putting it together for you. Let's begin with a Montana film telling the epic story of a community coming together.
I'm Dennis Bragg of Missoula. It takes an epic film to tell the epic story of a community coming together to raise an iconic airplane back into Montana skies. This weekend marks the premiere of the new Miss Montana documentary in Missoula. Return to the Big Skies, Miss Montana to Normandy is not only the story of the plane's resurrection, but a window into the pioneering world of Bob Johnson and Montana's mountain flying.
We were really happy to find photographs from local collectors that help us tell that story, the State Photo Archive, and the things we were able to pull together on this airplane are pretty remarkable.
Gritty, tough, determined, yet a little old, swallowed biplane. His wife was behind him 110%.
We're shooting the film on a very high quality nowadays, and so to try to balance that was a little bit tricky, but a lot of the old photographs were incredibly high quality.
The film hits all the historical high points, from the tragedy at Band Gulch to the fatal crash that nearly destroyed the plane and the neglect of years.
They flew baby chicks from the south clear up to British Columbia.
Chickens and car parts and in and out of Mexico, and who knows what else that we don't even know about was flown in this airplane.
KPAX plays a role in this film because Ian Marquand went on the flight to go bring Miss Montana back to Montana 20 years ago this coming October.
On Monday in West Memphis, Arkansas, Missoula's Museum of Mountain Flying took possession of the most famous C-47 aircraft ever to fly the Montana skies.
That was amazing, and I was super impressed with how many people he interviewed. Volunteers and everybody you can imagine who's had anything to do with this airplane. You'll be surprised with how many people show up on this one.
And the effort to find parts, make plans, and bring in the Rosies.
These guys, they're just like, oh, we're just going to take this airplane, we're going to fix it up, and we're going to fly it over the ocean. Are you crazy?
From things like scraping this gunk out of the belly with spatulas to folks that were licensed aircraft and power plant mechanics who could, by the FAA rules, actually work on this airplane, work on engines, work on controls.
And the last-minute dash to departure.
It was down to the wire, and you could see the pressure building, you could see the clock running down, but at the same time, everybody still had a smile on their face, everybody continued to work really hard. It was a little bit tense thinking, you know, we get one shot at filming this and really capturing this for history. So a little bit of stress as long as it's in focus. I think that, you know, that was our goal, is just to make sure we caught it on film.
A film that's not just about a plane, but people.
You know, the story of this airplane is about the volunteers and the supporters that made it happen. And he'd like to tell you that this movie is all about that too, and it is. But he's one of our volunteers too. And here we have some local talent, a world-class filmmaker in Missoula, who of his own initiative and time and money puts this film together. And not only is it a film that tells the story, it's a great film. You watch this film, it makes you proud to be a Missoulian and proud to be a Montanan. It's amazing the community effort that it portrays and the history of the airplane it tells. It's just masterfully done.
In Missoula, Dennis Bragg, MTN News.
A fallen World War II soldier and his family are honored after paying the ultimate sacrifice 77 years ago.
We had never received the medals, and that's been a couple-year journey to get to today where the medals were awarded.
Lieutenant Jack T. Mulder went missing after battle along the German border in 1944. 1 year later, he was pronounced dead. 77 years later, Governor Greg Gianforte presented the Bronze Star Medal, Purple Heart, and more to the Mulder family.
It was a privilege and an honor today for me to present the Purple Heart and the other medals that were earned by Lieutenant Jack Mulder in World War II. He gave his life so we can enjoy our freedoms that we enjoy today.
Mark's son Jack, named after Lieutenant Mulder, traveled from Tillamook, Oregon to attend the award ceremony, honoring the man both he and his father never had the honor to meet.
I wonder what it must be like sometimes to lose your father before you ever know him. And so it's touching to see the recognition, and just another chance to celebrate who he was and what he helped accomplish.
Mark knows his father only through old photographs and letters written home to his late mother while his dad fought overseas.
I'm trying to find my father's remains. I'm getting close.
Mark has been traveling to Europe for close to 40 years, visiting his dad's memorial in the Netherlands, where he is honored on the Wall of the Missing in the American Military Cemetery. Mark continues to search for his dad's remains in Germany, hoping to find closure in bringing his dad home.
It really means a lot to me to get this part of it, the whole thing done. My goal now is to find my father's remains, and working with the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency, I can just say it's a struggle. It's really a struggle, but I'm getting closer.
In Kalispell, Sean Wells, MTN News.
Hello everybody, I'm Casey Conlon. Duchenne muscular dystrophy is a disease without a cure. It's no real surprise, it's very rare, most have never heard about it. But one Yellowstone County family knows about it all too well. And so they, along with help from the Billings Livestock Commission, are trying to change that.
When you have a boy like we do, Grant, that has it, there's only so much you can do for him. We wanted to do something more because our only chance for Grant is research, so we wanted to raise money for research.
With ranching in their family's blood, Paul and Laura Heaton knew exactly how they wanted to raise that money. This Thursday, the BLS will hold the 3rd annual Calves to Cure DMD sale. The first two raised $40,000 for Cure Duchenne, a group the Heatons have come to love.
They use a venture philanthropy model to invest in startup companies that are going into like gene editing, and 90% of every dollar raised goes directly to research.
There are just 15,000 cases of Duchenne nationwide and only a handful in Montana. The disease, which almost exclusively affects boys, is a gene mutation that breaks down muscles all over the body. Most patients are wheelchair-bound by their teens, with a life expectancy under 30. Grant was diagnosed 4 years ago, when he was just 3.
Which, of course, we had never heard of or anything, and then you start doing research on it and finding out how horrible it is and things like that. And we just tried to find out as much as we could about it, just so we can give Grant the best life he can have.
The disease has slowed him down considerably over the past year, but all in all, Grant is one happy ranch hand.
We were preconditioning a couple weeks ago, and he got to run the hot shot for the first time, and that was a big thing for him.
He and his Huntley Project first grade class will be just as excited at Thursday's event, which will be just like any other livestock sale. No gimmicks, no special treatment. The Heatons say they know times are hard for everyone right now, and they just want to be a small part of the process.
If we even have 2 that come in, the money's going to Duchenne research, and that's what we want.
To eventually cure the incurable disease.
Nobody should have to go through this, and no boy or young man should have to suffer from Duchenne. There's enough technology out there. We just got to find the right path and get a cure and treatment for Duchenne.
Casey Conlon, MTN News.
Still to come, transforming a dark, dingy street into a work of art. A look at a young woman chosen to change the face of a city underpass. We have much more right after the break. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Positively Montana.
Here along Prickly Pear Creek, years of restoration work have reshaped the environment. Now, we're getting a look at what impact that work is having on wildlife. A team from Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks got into the water with a small barge, protective gear, and an electrified probe. They were electrofishing, using low-level shocks to stun fish, picking them up with a net, and then counting and measuring them.
The end game being what we call a catch per unit effort, which is number of fish per 100 meters. So that's a good way for us to gauge each species, their abundance, their size structure.
They found many brown and rainbow trout, some 20 inches or longer. This is the third year FWP has done fish counts on this stretch. Biologist Adam Strainer says they've seen more fish each year, but as important as the raw numbers are more specific details. This year they're seeing more rainbow trout, which he credits to projects downstream letting fish pass. They're also seeing younger fish, a sign they may be breeding successfully. This area was once part of the Asarco smelter site. In recent years, the creek has been reconstructed to get closer to the original course, and organizations have cleaned up areas of contamination.
It's really inspiring to come out here and see this restoration work that's just taken off, literally. I've worked on a lot of restoration projects, and I've never seen willows come in this well, this fast.
Last year, Prickly Pear Land Trust took control of 243 acres around the creek. They plan to develop it into the East Helena Greenway.
Prickly Pear's goal here is to have trails and fishing access sites and public access. Our whole purpose for working with the community to re-envision this site is to help it be more available to the public and to youth and to families in the area.
Someday there'll be people out here fishing. They'll be on bikes and little kids will be riding out here, and it'll be cool one day to just, have the baseline data to say, here's what it started at.
Because of construction and safety concerns, Prickly Pear Land Trust says it will probably be 2 years before this parcel is open for public access. They do hope to complete reclamation work on another parcel north of Kennedy Park by the end of this year. In East Helena, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.
It's taken roughly 500 hours to detail paint every inch of this wall here on 13th Street, but one Billings woman says it is all worth it if it means she can brighten up Billings one underpass at a time.
You might think art is usually created in the calm and silent areas of our inspired minds.
I get a lot of honks and waves and shouts.
But not quite here.
A lot of people saying thank you, but I thank them for all of their support.
Here, Elisa Leninger uses her surroundings as motivation.
I like the baby bison with its mom. It kind of shows like new life and the beginning of a life, and he's standing up for the first time and she's kind of helping him, and you can see his legs are a little wobbly.
She's here because of a grant secured from the Big Sky Economic Development with the help of the Southside Neighborhood Task Force to turn slabs of concrete gray into bold browns, hues of bright and joyful oranges, and uplifting yellows.
And collectively, we call these two murals the gateway to the Yellowstone.
This is her second underpass mural, a tribute to what stood here before any of us.
So this is a view from the rims of the Yellowstone Valley, like a panoramic view. So these are all of the landscapes that surround the Yellowstone Valley, kind of depicting it before the time of humans being here. So there's all the bison that roam the valley.
Painting for her comes easy.
When I started painting, I just fell in love with it and kept going.
Because her motivation to keep going is Montana.
Yes, this is where I grew up, and it's what I know, and I always admire the landscapes surrounding the Yellowstone Valley and Billings area.
They say when a person looks at art they see as beautiful, instantly your body releases dopamine and lowers the stress hormone.
I just want them to smile.
So with that in mind, she wants others to feel just like that.
I hope it makes their day just a little bit brighter.
In Billings, Andrea Lutz, MTN News.
Two young ladies in Helena did something pretty routine this summer, but they turned it into a way to help others in their community. This looks like a pretty normal summer activity.
Well, we just kind of, it was kind of just a normal lemonade stand.
Sure, they sold cookies and lemonade, but instead of pocketing the profits, Mary Dietz and Mary McDuffie donated the earnings to Helena Food Share.
It was one day, and how much money did we earn from it? A lot. A lot. Oh, like $40 for the food share?
That's right, $40 and a box of food donated right here.
Here are some young people in our community who have a heart for caring for their neighbors and making sure that their neighbors, are taken care of or have enough food.
Day says that $40 from Mary and Mary, like all donations, goes right to putting food on people's tables. And the Helena Food Share does help put food on a lot of tables. Helena Food Share right here is serving, on average, about 70 families on a daily basis.
When you have that many people in a week who need help getting food, it makes you realize what the need is.
Mary and Mary were happy to do their part to help out and had a couple of words for the people that bought lemonade and cookies.
Thank you for coming. Yeah. And come back. Come back again.
Yep, Mary and Mary plan to hold another lemonade stand in the future, once again to benefit their community. In Helena, Marian Davidson, MTN News.
As the White Sulphur Springs Hornets looks to stake their claim this year as the top team among the six-man ranks here, they're doing so without a familiar face on the sideline. That face is Dave Ringers.
Ringer, a White Sulphur Springs High School grad, is also a photographer in the area, donating his time and skill to Hornet student-athletes, as well as being a mentor to student-athletes as the White Sulphur Springs golf coach.
Dave is a great guy. He's done so much for the kids in this school since he moved back here. He's an alumni, you know, and he bleeds orange and black. He's our photographer. I can't tell you the thousands and thousands of prints he does for these kids and catching special moments for the families. And it's all donated by him. And, you know, Dave is he's probably the biggest Hornet fan you'll find.
Ringer was hospitalized a month ago and has been in Billings receiving treatment for 40 days. As he fights to return home, the Hornets football team is doing what they do best, playing in his honor.
Shout out to Dave Ringer there. He came, he's our photographer, had heart surgery, so playing this season for him.
With the Hornets being the runner-up in the six-man ranks last year and an unbeaten record to their credit so far this year, they're looking to give Ringer every chance they can to get back on the sidelines, hopefully, at some point this year.
I know it would mean the world to these boys and to Dave also. You know, that's why we're hoping to make our season run into November, give him some extra time to heal up and make sure he can make it to one of our games.
He's always out here, a huge Hornet fan, and I'd love to see him on the sideline this year.
While it's unclear whether or not Ringer will be able to return to the sidelines here of White Sulphur Springs football games on Saturdays this fall, there is one thing for sure. His impact is certainly being felt, whether it's near or far. Reporting in White Sulphur Springs, Sam Hoyle, MTN Sports.
Dylan Foreman here at Great Falls High School, where we catch up with the Emma Strong campaign that inspired the Great Falls athletic community to become blood stem cell and bone marrow donors. In the summer, Great Falls Bison soccer player Emma Paycheck was diagnosed with the rare blood disorder aplastic anemia. She is recovering and in better health now, but she is missing her sophomore soccer season. Both the Great Falls High and Great Falls CMR soccer programs for boys and girls are honoring her and supporting her this season. With funds from Emma Strong merchandise sold at games, the players are wearing warm-up shirts in her honor to go along with the driving motivation behind who they're playing their season for.
It was really nice. It was really nice to see all the support that Emma's getting and just knowing that she's loved, and she really misses it playing soccer. At halftime and before the game, sometimes we're like, for Emma, and we want to win for Emma.
The love and support was on full display in the first crosstown matchup of the year as the Lady Rustlers took home a win while the Bison boys won their game as well. Emma is in high spirits and is well on her way to recovery. Here in Great Falls, I'm Dylan Foreman, MTN Sports.
Every year in Yellowstone National Park, huge bull elk perform loud, wild, and sometimes dangerous mating rituals. It happens in one of the most visited parts of the park.
Around this side right here.
It's really cool. It's something I've never seen anywhere. Yeah.
Are you scared at all?
Kinda. I am, actually. You know, I mean, it's nice to be scared.
Did you just hear that?
Yeah. It's right there.
Here's what happens at Mammoth in the evening. You can see people walking by right now. They're headed this direction. There was a huge bull elk right across the road here a little while ago. It moved that direction. People are moving that direction. We can see rangers with their flashing lights on. They're using the loudspeakers to tell people to stay away, not to get too close to the animals because they can be dangerous.
This bull over here on the hill was definitely agitated.
and ended up charging the law enforcement vehicle and making contact.
We've come up here for the last 10 years to watch the elk rut in September. And we can come up the rest of the year just to go do the geysers and other stuff, but September is the elk rut.
The mating rituals and stuff and fighting with the other bulls is pretty cool.
Yeah, what'd you think of having to run from the corner over here a little while ago?
Got my heart beating a little bit.
Please continue moving, take it by the designated parking spot and remain inside of your vehicle. Thank you.
Males will bugle. So the male will take its antlers and it'll scrape it in the ground. And so a lot of times they're on their phone, they don't realize how close they are, and they can put themselves in a dangerous situation. And that elk feels threatened because there's something unknown in its territory. It could charge. Okay, this animal's bedded down right now, but if it gets up, we need to think about where we can go to take cover.
It's better to be scared. It's safe to be scared. In the times like this, you know.
It's getting well into dusk here now at Mammoth, and while a lot of people have left the area, the elk are still around. The big bull that we saw here a little while ago was down in front of the courthouse over here, a couple hundred yards away. And the rangers are still around, but with fewer people around, there's less confrontation and things are a lot quieter now. At Mammoth in Yellowstone National Park, John Shearer, MTN News.
We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Positively Montana. Each week, we'll be scouring the state looking for good. Of course, if you know someone who meets the criteria, we encourage you to submit your idea online. We're looking for people doing good things, people trying to make a difference, and good things happening to those in need. That's all of our time this week. I'm Hallie Schwinard. We'll see you back here next week.